Now we're going to start the next section, and I'm going to split it up into two different videos. The first one is going to be finding derivatives of products. Now I've got a product rule. Remember, product is when you've got something times something else. So the first thing I've got is the product rule is if I've got y or f of x is equal to a function of x times another function of x. I'm going to shorten this to u being the first factor, v being the second. My formula is as follows, my derivative. I'm going to have v times the derivative of first plus the first times derivative of second. Or y prime is equal to v times u prime plus u times v prime. I'm going to show you how I do it in class, which I think is more direct. I'll also show you what the book does. I will leave it up to you. Both methods work. And again, I'm going to show you initially using the formula and then using another way to prove that we just found it other than using the calculator. So in this particular problem, notice that I've got 8x minus 3, which is my first factor. My second factor here is negative 6x squared plus 2. It's called the product rule because I've got a product here. So first thing I want you to do is indicate who is u and who is v. U is always the first, v is always the second. And now when you separate it, you're back to something you've done before. U prime is going to be 8, v prime is going to be a negative 12x. Since this is a new formula, you need to write it down. Every time you write it down, it gets stored more and more and more into long-term memory. So always write this down, because now it's just really putting the pieces where they need to go into the formula. So I'm going to put parentheses around my v. I'm going to have my u prime, which is 8. My u is a binomial, so I have parentheses there, times my v prime. So initially, you just plop them in, and now you're back to algebra. This right here is the only calculus part that you've done, other than doing u prime, v prime, and using the formula. From now on, after you use the formula, putting the pieces in the respective positions, then it's pure algebra. So you need to multiply, distribute, combine like terms, and when you do that, this right here is my derivative. Now I will grant you that if first we had FOILed and then we got the derivative of that, it might have been a little bit quicker, but I'm going to tell you a little bit later, you're not going to be able to do that. So you're going to have to know how to do the product rule, and I'd rather you start it right now and get good at it so you're ready for it later on. So again, my product rule, y is equal to u times v. I need you to memorize this. Y prime is equal to v times u prime plus u times v prime. So commit it to memory. The next little bit is an example, same example, but with the Bix method. So let me start moving this. Let's see. They indicate, here's v times, this indicates that we're going to get the derivative of that, plus the second, times the derivative of the first. So where I use u prime and v prime, they use the d over dx, and they'll write it out like this. But again, if you like it, then you use it. I just know that my method right here is just, I don't know, more condensed, I think quicker. So let's move it down a little bit more. Notice we end up with the exact same thing, and after you clean up, we have the same problem, same answer. Space-wise, about the same. It's just more condensed. So I will do it this way myself in class because it's faster. Now I've got example 2. Now in this one, again, I multiplied it out. I'll move this here in just a second to see if our answers jive. So this one's u, this one's v. Get u prime, get v prime. Separate them, look at them separately. Write your formula and put the information down where it needs to go. Now if you'll notice, 3 of these are more than a monomial. they'll need parentheses. So I need a parentheses around this v, around the u prime. I'll need a parentheses around the u, not necessarily around my v prime because it's just a constant. Well, so I found the pieces, the individual derivatives of the pieces. I put it into the formula. Now let's go do some algebra. Go FOIL, distribute through the 4, and combine like terms. Now, I went ahead and I multiplied this out, combined like terms, and if you'll get the derivative here, there's your 36x squared minus 34x minus 15. Derivative of the constant is 0. So if you'll notice, yes, these two in fact do jive. Okay? So that's it for the product rule. Go and play with those, and the next one I'll be doing will be the quotient rule. Thank you.